I just want to throw in here before we start, for algorithm purposes, if you enjoy my channel and aren't subscribed, I would super appreciate it if you could subscribe if you enjoy this video or whatever, like it, comment, all the things to help boost the algorithm. This is supposed to help, maybe, so thank you. When I was newer to the game, my answer to the question, how many souls do you need to beat Dark Souls, would probably be that it's close to whatever the total is from the required bosses, and honestly, I think that's a good starting point. What are the required bosses, and how many souls do they give then? Well, obviously the Asylum Demon is required to exit the Asylum, and it gives a clean 2,000 souls. Then the Bell Gargoyles, who give 10,000, and Quelaag, who gives 20,000 to open Sens, and more importantly, the Firelink Altar. The Iron Golem gives a staggering 40,000 souls to access Anor Londo, then Ornstein and Smoke give another 50,000 to get the Lord Vessel. That nearly tripled our count in only 2 bosses. From there, Sif gives 40,000 for the Covenant of Artorias, the Four Kings gives 60,000, Seath gives another 60,000, the Bed of Chaos another 60,000, and that's assuming Ceaseless Skip can be done at this point. It probably could, to be honest, so that's not really an issue, and I'm not really counting that as a glitch. Pinwheel only drops 15,000 souls, but Nito gives another 60,000, and that's assuming you can get through the Tomb of the Giants without a random skeleton. Finally, Gwyn gives the most souls of any boss at an immense 70,000, bringing our total souls up to 487,000. Granted, this does skip a good chunk of bosses, Priscilla, Gwendolyn, Capra, Gaping, Ceaseless, Firesage, Centipede, Taurus, Butterfly, and the entirety of the DLC, but I know for sure we can do much better. First of all, the Asylum Demon is entirely skippable. Well, at least its souls are, and we'll get there in a moment. Quelaag is also skippable with another pretty difficult glitch, and we can avoid the souls from the Iron Golem with a frame-perfect and extremely precise glitch. Ornstein and Smoke cannot be skipped as far as I know, but here's the big one. The entire second half of the game can be skipped relatively easily. There are 2 methods to rung warp past the door in Firelink Altar, one using spells and weird glitchy timing and stuff, and then there's the easier one that I'll be doing because I'm bad at the method, and it also requires stuff I'd have to buy, which I don't want to do because buying stuff takes souls. That brings the total bosses down to just the Gargoyles, Ornstein and Smoke, and Gwyn, bringing the total souls down to 130,000, a far cry from the nearly 500,000 without glitches. That said, there's a lot more to this run than just skipping some bosses, such as what weapon I'll use and how much damage I'll do, on top of making sure no enemy ends up flying off a ledge while I'm running through Anor Londo's rafters or whatever, so let's see what we can do. The Asylum Demon can be skipped pretty easily, mostly. All you need to do is kill it with the black fire bombs and quit out immediately. That will give Oscar the big pilgrim's key, but will keep the demon alive so it doesn't give us any souls. Technically you don't need the fire bombs, but I'm not punching the Asylum Demon to death again. The 100 souls from Oscar are completely unskippable as far as I know, and I tried every skip I could find online. All of them require getting Oscar's souls somehow. Now that we're out of the Asylum, the simplest thing we can do to start off is beating the Gargoyles, our first of 3 bosses. The only potential issue with getting to the Gargoyles is one of the drakes randomly flying off the edge, but that happens pretty rarely and wasn't an issue for me. Fighting the Gargoyles with nothing but a bandit's knife plus 0 wasn't exactly a fun experience, but it wasn't the worst fight I've ever had. I also had the 5 extra black fire bombs to take out the first Gargoyle pretty quickly, and the second isn't much of a threat on its own. Just be careful for the short time you have to deal with both Gargoyles, and it should be a simple fight. That brings our total souls so far up to 10,100, 10,000 from the Gargoyles on top of 100 from Oscar. To actually use those souls though, I'm going to grab a couple things. First of all, the 5 black fire bombs from the Berg and the 3 gold pine resin as well. More importantly though, the large ember. I've been told it seems like I do the depths clip pretty often, and well, I guess it is true. It's a very easy and extremely useful clip. You just climb up this ladder in the Berg, roll over the wall, drop down through the ground, drop onto this wall somewhat precisely, drop down, then follow a specific path over the depths to get back in bounds. From there, it's easy to make your way up to the large ember. The only real threats are a couple dogs and butchers, but quitting out after the iframes from opening the chest gives you just enough time to grab the ember and get away. I used those souls to get my bandit's knife to raw plus 3 by using Sen Skip to get some large titanite. If you don't know, Sen Skip is performed by riposting a hollow, barehanded so I don't kill it, right next to the edge of the staircase. The animation pushing your hitbox just out of bounds into a death cam trigger. The positioning is a little precise since there's an actual death trigger just below it. The death cam makes the camera move above you, which messes with the controls, but it also prevents things from loading. since most of the time you hit one, you die right afterward. This lets us just walk straight through the gate, closing off Sens, albeit with a bit of trouble navigating due to the terrible controls and lack of loaded terrain. I had to quit out several times through Sens to prevent arrow traps from killing snakes, stop them from running into the axes and being thrown off, or killed by boulder traps, but it honestly wasn't that bad. Admittedly, I could have done this later and not done the skip at all, but the cage key kind of makes that unimportant. In retrospect, this definitely wasn't the best choice. I didn't end up using the knife, meaning this run was actually much easier than what I did here, but it would have worked to beat Ornstein and Gwyn had I needed to use it. Initially, I wanted it for the crit multiplier on Gwyn, but again, it didn't end up being useful. Anyway, time to do the Quelaag skip. I quit out a bunch in Blighttown to make sure nothing jumped to its death, mostly considering the snipers, and ended up being fine. Initially, when I was recording this run, I was doing live commentary, though eventually decided on post-commentary to explain these skips, at least the more complex ones, in a bit more detail. That said, I did say something that I think is worth sharing here, mostly because I like to have at least something that's a bit more than just a video game in my videos, and I think this bit of information could either help someone or make someone I don't want to watch my videos stop watching, so here's that. Sometimes I forget that it is one of my pronouns, and I don't know why I like that as much as I do. It just feels affirming in the same way that she feels affirming, you know? Can't really explain it beyond that, but it is very nice to know, you know, what else is like, what feels like me, I guess, in a more complete way. If you, for any reason, have any problem with any of what I just said, please stop watching this video. Other people's identity is only your problem in that you have to respect it. And for those of you it didn't bother, I sincerely hope it helped you in some way, either for your own identity or for someone else's. Now, in order to do the Quelaag skip, you need to activate the boss fight, so that the cutscene doesn't play when we come back here later. I made sure to grab the large Titanite shard on the way, and use that to upgrade my bandit's knife to raw +4. I used my remaining 1000 souls to dupe my black fire bombs and gold pine resin, though again, that didn't end up being useful because I didn't end up using either, for reasons that will be obvious later. I backed up my save once I got back down to the bottom of Blighttown, just in case, and proceeded to do a skip that I've never done before. Admittedly, it's not insanely difficult. The hardest part is climbing up a bit of Blighttown without killing anything, and that's only an issue because the snipers and the crag spider right at the top of a ladder. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to kill the spiders right next to where I need to do the glitch. It is a bit precise, which made it slightly more difficult, but I got extremely lucky and hit the death cam trigger without hitting the kill plane on my first try. From there, you need to climb down Blighttown, using slopes to narrowly avoid fall damage to get to the bottom quickly, then run through the swamp, making sure not to die from any of the enemies down here or the poison. Running through the first bit of Quelaag's domain is very easy since it's just a hallway, but getting to the right location in the arena is very difficult. It's extremely difficult to navigate and orient yourself when all of the terrain is entirely deloaded. You'll know you're in the arena when Quelaag's health bar shows up, but beyond that, you're kind of on your own. If I'm being entirely honest, I did just kind of blindly run based on how my character was moving and made it through with dumb luck on my second try. Once you make it to the staircase after the bell, you can quit out and reload to be placed back out of the death cam state. From there, you just ring the bell. Now that does open Sens, but as I mentioned earlier, that's mostly useful because it opens Firelink Altar, which will be important for later. The next trick took me hours to do. Hours. All you have to do is attack the Iron Golem on the same frame you get grabbed. Sounds easy, right? Actually, it kind of is. I got that part many times. The hard part is the extremely precise positioning and angle you have to be at for that to actually do anything useful. Now, when you attack an enemy while a grab hitbox is active, for whatever reason, it will set them back to their idling animation. This means that the motion that would normally place you in the grab animation doesn't get calculated right because the animation ended prematurely. If you do it just right, you'll actually get flung pretty far, and because Anor Londo, the level itself, is actually located just past the Iron Golem arena, you can use this to end up in Anor Londo without killing the Golem. Unfortunately, again, it's insanely precise. At first I tried for about an hour and a half with the bandit's knife. Here are some of my best attempts with a bandit's knife. I mentioned something about the skip in my Discord server, link in the description, though at this point it's mostly just full of trans women. I'm not complaining, I love it, but it is a warning. Anyway, someone said something about needing a weapon with a specific running attack animation, so I toyed with the idea of starting a new character to get the stats to wield the Zweihander instead of leveling up the bandit's knife. I eventually decided against it and grabbed the mace instead all the way down at the bottom of the catacombs. This is the one time I've ever been happy that the skeletons respawn. Otherwise, I'd have a lot more souls at this point. The mace definitely felt like it was getting me farther, but after another 2.5 hours to no avail, I switched to a different character and started trying different weapons. I never got it with this character either, which didn't really matter since it was just a casual playthrough. It definitely felt like the Zwei was getting me even further, and whether or not that was true, I was willing to try pretty much anything at this point. So I got a second character, this time starting as the bandit, all the way back here, this time with the Zwei, and tried a few more times. The worst possible thing that could have happened, happened. I got it. I did it. After hours of trying, I did it. I wasn't recording. At the point I started recording again, you just do a force quit wrong warp, which I explain in more detail later since we have to do it again anyway. I really wanted to have a successful attempt on camera, so I tried again. For hours, I tried again and simply could not do it. I gave up. I did it, you know I did it, but only once and not on camera. I'm done with this glitch. I'm never doing it again. I made sure to grab the S-Stock and Longbow on this character to move swap onto the Zweihander, and I'm doing it now to get it out of the way. That will make Ornstein and Smo much easier. The rafters were not nearly as difficult as I expected them to be, just a couple quit outs solved that issue entirely. Even if I hadn't, it's not insanely uncommon to run across without any of them falling off. The real issue, aside from having one of the Batwing demons jumping off despite me, forcing me to reload my save, was the archers, as usual. In order to get past the archer blocking my way, I had to guide it over to the buttress you climb up, then somehow run past it without falling, despite the sloped ground of the buttress. Honestly, on its own, that wouldn't be that difficult. The real issue this time was the second archer, who normally doesn't matter at all. Most of the time, you just run straight to the first archer, riposte it, and the second doesn't even come into play. Here, though, it's constantly firing while I'm at the top of the buttress, which is where I need to lure the first archer to. It took me a long time to learn the rhythm of the second archer while figuring out how to guide the first, but thankfully I did eventually get it. Once I got the first archer to run down the buttress a bit, I was free to run and quit out past where it spawns. Ornstein and Smo was a very long, very difficult, and honestly pretty tense fight, especially since Smo probably would have one-shot me with most of his attacks in the second phase, and Ornstein only staggers if I hit with both attacks from the running attack, so I had to be extra careful. Luckily, I was able to win on my second try, despite the odds being relatively stacked against me. I probably could have done it with home move swap, but it genuinely would have just been tedious and annoying. I used the 50,000 souls from that fight, bringing our total to 60,100, to get my Zweihander to Raw +5, which honestly might have been the wrong move since I could have used the rest of my souls to level strength, but it's fine. Now I need to force quit wrong warp and Firelink altar to get behind the door without getting the 4 Lord Souls. To do this easily, all you need is Live Split, then to download the Dark Souls Auto Splitter, which you can do easily in Live Split itself. The Auto Splitter tracks in-game time, meaning it only advances when the game isn't loading. This lets you use Alt-Space and windowed mode to advance the loading screen frame by frame until the timer just barely advances forward, then you just close the game with the menu that comes up, and load back in to be behind the gate you'd normally need the Lord Souls for. It sounds harder than it really is. You just need to make sure to press Alt then Space quickly enough so that no more than a frame or two advances between each press. From there, you can close Live Split and go fight Gwyn like normal. I chose to back up my save here so that I didn't have to do the glitch again in case I died. The only concern in the entirety of the kiln is the Axe Black Knight that jumps towards you as you walk past, since that can carry it straight off the edge of the map. Gwyn was a little difficult, doing so little damage, but I just needed to get a bit lucky with fake Pegbuzz to win. Well, looks like the answer is only 130,100 souls, only 100 more than my protection because of Oscar. Thank you all for watching, I hope you enjoyed, I love you all. I especially want to thank Krista, Ratini, Howling Nocturne, Magnetar Technologies, Racuna, White Flame, Manarok, and Ryan Rickard. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I don't know how to end this.